recently George Martin was on the Stephen Colbert show, and he sort of talked about, hey, about 75% of the book way done with the book. I guess there was sort of a follow-up to that. It was like this Comedy Central thing, and it's some sort of like animated interview. Anyway, to break it down, he said on that, I have about 500 pages left, which the interesting point and significance of that is it's really the first time he's ever put a rough page number on it. You and I haven't really talked about it yet. So what are your kind of initial thoughts about that?
I mean, we knew that a lot of the roadblock chapters that he'd been struggling with for what seems to be years, he completed. And he said, like, I'm through the roadblocks, people. And there's been major, major progress. Now, one thing that I got to say that I've taken away from this, and we kind of talked about this before, but the more I think about it, there's absolutely no way Wins isn't getting split. Just sir, I want people to prepare, but I do not believe that it's going to be split by location like it was last time with Feast and Dance. I don't think we're going to see that because the publishing industry has changed a bit since the release of those books. And I have seen multiple fantasy authors such as Tad Williams and also Christopher Rocchio is writing kind of a sci-fi fantasy series called Sun Eater. They have had to split their massive tomes of books into two parts. And usually what ends up happening is you'll have a release towards the beginning or end of the year and then followed up in about 6 to 9 months by another release. So I honestly think there's almost no way that Wins is not going to be split. Apparently George is really strict. Like he really wants to stick to 7 books. Like he is pretty much said like he doesn't want to go beyond that. I don't know if that's because of the 7 or some sort of like symbolism for him that he doesn't want to betray, but I would be flabbergasted if this book gets published as one volume, just for the sole fact that probably pushing the limits is like a 1350 page book, kind of like what Brandon Sanderson has done in recent time. And I think Wins is going to be bigger than that. I mean, it really does seem like this book is 1,500, 1,600 pages long. Now, he is sending things off the editor. I've seen a lot of people talk about the fact that, hey, it's going to take him 2 years to edit the thing. But that's really not how George has worked, at least from what he has told us. The insight that he has given us to his process is that he actually edits as he goes, which does make it longer to write the book. But it seems like it could be about, I would say, a 1 year time period, most likely, of like fine tuning things and getting a final draft written. So I would say, for kicks and giggles, let's say George announces it March 1. I think about 9 months to a year is probably very feasible for a release date for Wins. So that's kind of what I took from it. I mean, I think it's very, very encouraging. I've seen some people say, oh, that's going to take him another 10 years. I don't think that's the case. I think that he is in a groove, past the roadblocks, excellent news. But as someone who is constantly looking at releases and publishers and very in tune with books, I'm very curious how Penguin Random House will handle this.